Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Judge Jackson, let me join my colleagues in extending a warm welcome to you and your family. Congratulations on your nomination. I enjoyed sitting down with you recently and talking about your experience as both a lawyer and a judge and how that's molded your views of our judicial system. In the coming days, I hope we can have a candid conversation about your record and your judicial philosophy. As I told you the other day, these proceedings will be thorough but civil. As a member of this committee, I've had the opportunity to provide advice and consent on 7 previous Supreme Court nominations. This is number 8. I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to the way the Senate conducts these proceedings, and so have the American people. One of the best things I think comes from this process is I think this is a teachable moment that will remind all of us about the wisdom of the founders who wrote a Constitution that made sure that our rights would be fixed and certain, so that these rights, whether they are the right to keep and bear arms or the right to practice one's faith, would be preserved from generation to generation. As you know, the founders established 3 separate branches of our government, a system of checks and balances, if you will. This was done for the purpose of preserving individual freedom and avoiding tyranny, and ensure that our government was ultimately accountable to the people, from whom all political power derives. Article 3, as you know, vests the Supreme Court and inferior courts with the judicial power. But the framers were very clear. The courts are not vested with a policy-making authority. According to our Constitution, courts hear cases and controversies and decide them. Nothing more, nothing less. That's an important distinction to remember in the days that lie ahead. Indeed, the framers envisioned that the courts would have a modest but very important role in our 3 branches of government. You'll recall Federalist 78, where Alexander Hamilton said the courts would have no influence over either the sword or the purse, and that it may truly be said to have neither force nor will, but merely judgment. Part of that judgment requires a judge to go where the law commands, whether or not you personally approve or not. And it starts with deciding cases as presented and not cherry-picking the facts or the law and starting with a decision and then justifying it by the way, by cherry-picked facts and provisions of the law. While the framers provided that the president would nominate judges, the framers also set up a framework that allowed judges, once you are confirmed, to exercise independent judgment free from elections and politics. And so these Supreme Court confirmation hearings are really the only chance we have as representatives of the people to vet somebody who will serve the remainder of their life. Unfortunately, there are some driven by their ideology that want the Supreme Court to do more than what I've just described. These are some of the same people who tried to bully Justice Breyer into an early retirement. These activists demand that the court make policy and deliver results they can't achieve through the deliberation, compromise, and rough and tumble of legislative politics. And when the court does not deliver the results they want, they attack its institutional integrity and legitimacy. In recent years, these radical views have made their way into the mainstream. On the campaign trail, President Biden refused to disavow court packing. 2 years ago, the Democratic leader of the Senate went to the Supreme Court steps and threatened 2 sitting Supreme Court justices by name if they did not rule in a particular way. Dark money groups like Demand Justice have paid millions of dollars to promote court packing and sow public distrust in the legitimacy of the Supreme Court. Justice Breyer, as you know, recently warned of the crippling effect this politicalization of the court and its decision-making can have. He said, without the public's trust, the court would no longer be able to act as a check on the other branches of government and a guarantor of the rule of law, threatening the foundations of our constitutional system. Judge, I know you know that the courts are not designed to deliver particular policy outcomes or to invent new rights out of whole cloth. That's why it's imperative that we explore your judicial philosophy during this hearing. I will say I was a bit troubled that you have not so far provided us with much clarity on that matter. Someone as accomplished as you are, who spent years engaging and thinking about our Constitution and laws, has surely formed a judicial philosophy. This is not your first rodeo. You've had an impressive career, Judge, as a Supreme Court clerk, appellate advocate, and trial court judge. I like the fact that you've had such broad experience in our judicial and legal system. But there are still unanswered questions that remain. I'm a bit troubled by some of the positions you've taken and arguments that you've made, representing people who have committed terrorist acts against the United States and other dangerous criminals. As someone who has deep respect for the adversarial system of justice, I understand the importance of zealous advocacy. But it appears that sometimes this zealous advocacy has gone beyond the pale. And in some instances, it appears that your advocacy has bled over into your decision-making process as a judge. You've had some cases reversed, like all judges do, but some of them were particularly high profile when you ruled against a Republican administration. I'm eager to understand why in some instances you found that you could not decide a particular issue, while in other instances you enjoined a Republican administration from implementing its policies. I'm also interested, as others have mentioned, in your opinion, why pro-abortion, dark money groups like Demand Justice, and anti-religious liberty groups are pouring millions of dollars into a public campaign in support of your nomination. Judge Jackson, these are some of the questions and concerns I have. I assure you that you will have every opportunity to address these concerns as the committee evaluates your ability to fairly and impartially deliver justice should you be confirmed. So I welcome your testimony at these hearings, and I look forward to our give and take. Thank you very much.